Okay, patch notes are out and they will be going live in about an hour from now, so let's see what exactly will the changes gonna be and what will that mean for the meta. If you enjoyed the video and like what I'm doing, drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to get hired for some Hearthstone coaching. Now, let's check out the patch.
You are not prepared!
Okay, we have the patch notes a little bit early so we can prepare these videos a little bit in advance, and yeah, patch notes 29.4.2. The biggest change, honestly, is not the nerfs itself, but we're finally getting a change to the questicles. Launching today brings the following balance changes: weekly quests, updates, and more. Weekly quests update before the weekly quest change in patch 29.2. We didn't adequately communicate the changes that were coming, or our reasoning for them. That's something we'll keep improving on. Over the last few weeks, we've been listening to your experiences and looking at our data, and it's clear that the weekly quests did not do their job of rewarding you for your time playing the game. Going forward, we want to strike a much better balance between your time spent in Hearthstone and the rewards given by weekly quests. So we're making some more updates in this patch, reducing the requirements on the weekly quests that seem to be blocking players' progression for many of you, while leaving the increased XP where it is. We hope these new changes will still reward you more while keeping weekly quests at an attainable and fun goal for all players. We look forward to seeing how this iterations work out. Please keep the feedback coming. Thanks for playing, and we'll see you in the tavern. Okay, Win games of ranked. Old, it was win 10 games, now it's play 10 games, so that's definitely a very nice change. Like winning 10 games, that's usually playing at least 20 games, sometimes even more if the game decides so. So this definitely is a lot more reasonable. Not everybody has to be a tryhard in Hearthstone to be having fun and enjoying the game, so just having to play 10 games, that is definitely a very good step. I mean, it's not a step in the right direction, it is the right thing to be doing in the first place. Like, this is arguably even better than win 5 ranked games, which was the old thing. Now all you gotta do is just play 10 games, have fun, not exactly have to worry about winning. And that is definitely a very good thing for the player base, if you ask me. And the same goes for the win games of Arena, Tavern Brawl, or Battlegrounds. And now it's, the old was win 10 games. And now it's play 5 games, which is a very, very huge thing as well. Heck, I might even stop instantly rerolling every time I see Arena and Tavern Brawl in the quest name. But it's still something probably I would be rerolling personally, just because I really don't have too much interest in either of those, aside from the single Tavern Brawl I have to do. But it's again another pretty decent thing to be having, so happy with this change as well. Also, with the miniaturized or mini cards, old, it was 32. I think at the beginning it was 75, like that was insane. Now all you gotta do is play 10 miniaturized or mini cards, so that is also huge. Just 10 cards, that's again like if you're playing something like a Tigris plushie or the Death Knight mini or any of the mini cards, honestly, Druid and whatnot, all of them are decently playable, most of them are actually pretty good. So it's not a big requirement. It still kind of forces you to play something that you but not necessarily meant to be playing. Like if you're just having fun with decks that don't run mini cards, kind of makes you play the game in a weird way, honestly. But it's still definitely not a bad change. It kind of makes people play the new stuff more often than not. Like usually quests like this, they are with the new keywords, so that's why we have minis here. Next expansion, we're gonna have something else, the new fresh keyword and whatnot. So I guess it's still not a bad idea to have something along those lines. At the end of the day, these quests are trying to make you actually try the new stuff, aka maybe buy the new stuff, that kind of deal. So yeah. Also, we have spend only 650 mana instead of 750. It still feels a little bit too much. Like when you see something like this, especially with the meta being this fast right now. That's like, what, more than 10 games, right? Usually, at least. So this one still feels a little bit on the upper scale. Like, honestly, if this was 350, I would be okay. Still a little bit on the upside, but it's still a little bit too much if you ask me. Personally, it doesn't really matter. Usually, it doesn't really matter for me, unless I'm literally just coaching my ass off every stream. But if you're just playing the game normally, just a few hours each week, this should also be a pretty attainable questicle. And let's not forget, you can just reroll this into something else. Okay, now moving into the actual Hearthstone patch, the Hearthstone update. Hearthstone balance patch, nailed it. Let's look at, let's see what that's about. Dev comment, it's early after the launch of the Dr. Boom Incredible Inventions mini set, and the metagame is still developing. No, it isn't. It was literally stale as fuck as soon as day 2, where everything was figured out, but what do we know? So we're making just a few balance adjustments in this patch aimed at addressing early outlier decks. All 3 of the target decks are a little too good at flooding the board too early and too efficiently. The Molten Giant changes slows Warlock down slightly and also makes the play pattern a bit more dangerous, allowing more room for a counter swing. Showdown is an enabler for Ziliax, Sea Giant, and Prismatic Beam in Paladins, so we think it could be less efficient for that deck. Finally, Thirsty Drifter is another strong swarming card, particularly at higher levels of play, and our data indicates that decks would likely trend upwards if we didn't adjust it here too. Okay, so Showdown, no surprises here. We were expecting this. It's just gonna be a 3 mana. I still believe the deck is gonna be pretty close to the same power level. A lot of people that are misplaying with this deck anyway, they don't really abuse the Showdown potential to its fullest, like cheating out Sea Giants and Ziliax is a lot faster, that kind of deal. Like, the Showdown is definitely a card that can be abused very, very heavily, especially in the higher ranks. And yeah, I do believe this still is going to remain a pretty top tier deck from Diamond to Legend especially. It still should be decent in top level as well. I'm not sure this is enough. Like, this nerf feels like it should have been a part of something else, something more included. Like, if I see a card nerfed like this, I'd assume something else is also getting there for the class, for the archetype, that kind of deal. This feels a little bit too weak of a slap on the wrist. Like, very gentle touch right there, Blizz. Like, what are we afraid of Pally suddenly being a top tier deck instead of an absolute god tier deck anymore? Like, could have been slapped a little bit harder, but I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit too weak sauce for it to really change too much. We also have the Thirsty Drifter. Again, not exactly a surprise here. I was expecting it to go a 3-5 or a 7 mana, and they went with the 7 mana route. Feels a little bit too weak of a nerf again. Like, if this really reduces the Showdown Pally play rates and Pain Like Lock play rate, nerfing this just by 1 mana, I don't think that's gonna achieve all that much. Like, heck, honestly, a lot of the times it's not even coming down to the Drifter for the opponent to zerg the board real quick. Feels again as if it could have been a part of something bigger, but let's not pretend that Zareen Priest was the problem right now in the meta. But I still believe Zareen Priest might become the problem if all the Showdown Pallys and Pay Warlocks decide not to be playing those decks anymore. So yeah, it's again a little bit skeptical. Not sure it's enough. If we were really aiming at lowering the power spike that Zareen Priest could be still possessing. And lastly, we also have Molten Giant. Again, theme of this balance patch, literally, this meeting could have been an email kind of deal. Like, very low slaps for all 3 of the cards. Bumping this only by 2 mana requirement, 2 health more like it. Yeah, it forces you to drop yourself down all the way to 8 health. It's not gonna be as possible to do this as soon as turn 3 with the coin, maybe even impossible. I haven't really done the math, but technically it should still be possible, but it requires a lot of damaging and a lot of luck. Like, it's gonna have to be, you gotta play 4 blood treants like that to drop yourself all the way down to 10 health and also include a tap at some point. So it's possible with the coin, but you have to have like literally a perfect 6 cards in your first 3 turns kind of deal. So yeah, I guess it's not going to be a super doable turn 3 drop Giant anymore. But still, I feel like the deck is still going to be very powerful. The main problem with this deck is they basically cheat out these guys still at 0 mana and they bump themselves back to 15. So what are these risky play patterns we're talking about here, Blizz? Like, you're still gonna bump yourself all the way back to 15, so feels like, again, this could have been a combo nerf with another card, like the Infernal, let's say. Infernal right now, I don't know, sets, could have been a 5 mana, the Infernal, if you ask me. Could have been at least a 4/4 or something like that. Right now, 6/6 with basically healing you back to a non-dangerous life total feels a little bit too OP. So honestly, all 3 of the decks got off very lightly. all of them I do believe are going to remain really strong. So I guess Zarimi doesn't benefit that much out of this, because if the meta remains basically unchanged, honestly, you can literally still play all of these decks and expect to be achieving pretty much the same stuff. Yeah, I think they kind of went a little bit too soft this time. Okay. The above cards will be eligible for a full dust refund. Well, that's a lie, because this is a freaking core card, but yeah, I guess somebody could have the original card as well. If you guys want to be getting the dust back, you gotta write refund in your collection, and that's gonna list a lot of nerfed cards. You have 2 weeks to get all your dust back, and the rule here is if you're not using the card literally right now, it's always a good idea to disenchant it then and there, so you can use that dust for something you actually want. And if you decide later that you still want to be playing with those cards, you can literally craft them for the exact same price. But this is only true if you disenchant them in the nerf window. So with the full dust refund window, always a good idea to be disenchanting them if you're not literally playing those decks exactly right now. That's it for the standard changes. The rest is just battlegrounds whatnot. We don't really cover those here. It's quite the long one. We also have some bug fixes. Battlegrounds removed, we don't care. Collection fixed the bug where standardized packs wasn't showing under the new tab in the collection. Okay, I guess. But yeah, all around I feel like the meta is not really gonna shift thanks to this nerf. I don't even think it's gonna slow down the meta all that much. And let's not forget hand buff Valley is still top tier, literally untouched. I don't know, feels like this was a wasted opportunity to really shake up the meta. I don't know, you guys tell me what you think in the comments. I feel like this opportunity was a little bit wasted. Still pretty happy about the quests. I know a lot of you were pretty worried about them slowballing this, myself included. Like, what, it took him like 2 months to figure this shit out? Surely you could have done this in a week. But again, what do we know, chat? Anyway, that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. I'm going live on Twitch right now when the nerfs go live, so we can see what the new, old, same best decks are. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And thanks for watching. I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.